Hey, ladies. Today we're going to be chatting about why community is so important for a successful online business, especially as a Christian woman, and why it is literally the difference between maybe scaling or not scaling. Okay, it's going to be good. Are you a Holy Spirit-led woman called to build a faith-based online business that disrupts the culture, sets people free, and leaves a legacy for the generations? If so, welcome to the Set Apart Online Business Podcast, the podcast for Christian coaches, course creators, entrepreneurs, and ministry leaders who are ready to scale to 6 and 7 figures without compromising their calling, and all while building set-apart families and set-apart businesses. I'm your host, Ashley June, MBA, 7-figure business coach, homeschool mama of 3, and founder of Eden, the Mastermind, and the Selah Collective group coaching program. I help women like you launch, grow, and scale biblically based online businesses that create income, impact, and kingdom legacy in less time. I'm talking 5 to 15 hours a week. You can build a life of freedom for your family through building generational wealth, and all while having fun. So yes, ladies, I am often surfing in Costa Rica or sneaking away on ski trips in our beautiful Colorado mountains with my little crew. Here, we talk about business strategy, funnels, sales, launching, scaling, motherhood, culture, and the Holy Spirit edge of entrepreneurship. Because building a set-apart online business means stepping into the business battlefield with boldness, discernment, and the armor of God. Because God has set you apart and you don't have to build your online business like the world. So grab your electrolytes or reheat that same cup of coffee for the 3rd time, and let's step into today's episode with big visions and radical boldness. Let's go, girls. Okay, ladies, today we're going to be talking about why community is the missing piece in your God-led online business. Okay. I am reminded why community is so key, partly because of the membership that we just launched, but I'm also literally about to head to Florida tomorrow for our yearly beach retreat, okay? And this is for my Selah Collective students, for my high ticket students. Once to twice a year, we either meet on the beach or in the mountains. And I get a chance to really foster community in person with these ladies. And let me tell you, it is life-changing. It is monumental. It just brings everything together. It is like the binder of it all. The women walk away so changed. They build great friendships. We've had lots of business besties come from our retreats over the year, but they're very, very special. And it's just one way that I have built community inside of my programs. And I want to just kind of talk about these pieces because I think it really is something that is to some extent really important, especially in this day and age, So we're going to chat about that today. Before we get into the nitty gritty, ladies, we do have some exciting stuff coming up. I'll be announcing some stuff next week. But please download the 100K guide. This is the roadmap to take you from 0 to 100K in your online business in the next 12 months. It basically shares my story, the steps that I took. And honestly, it is pretty much timeless. It's the same thing that my students are walking through in these seasons and learning these lessons. And it is a great just roadmap, guys. It's a roadmap for like the steps that you're going to need to take to go ahead and get to that point. So go download that. The link is in the show notes. So I think I accidentally tapped into building community, kind of sort of at the beginning of my business, right? And a big portion of it is like you can truly really create relationships through community, and you give people a reason to stay and a reason to be involved in the ecosystem, right? And it's groups. It's like managing groups and managing, people. Like they can definitely have a mind of their own. So how you build community is really important. And I've made mistakes in how I've built, community, but I've also had great successes and have learned so much throughout the years. And so I kind of wanted to go a little bit back into my origin story of where my love of community really stemmed from. And that was probably honestly like youth group growing up and summer camp that I used to go to. Okay. I loved going on like youth group retreats. I loved going to youth group, whenever it was, Wednesday nights or Sunday nights or whatever it was. I was very connected into my youth group all throughout growing up. So many great friends, great youth pastors. Like it just truly was like a major maybe like identity driver, right? And I am so thankful for those days. And I loved the fun that came out of youth group on top of the depth, right? And I know youth group is not perfect and summer camps are not perfect and all the things, but there was just something that I always loved about bringing people together, facilitating fun, going deep, building relationships, because I think we are so isolated as a society, right? And just we all want to belong somewhere. So I really think maybe it stems from a root of belonging, and wanting to be included and wanting to kind of have a shared mission with people, honestly. And when I think about this, I just think about my love of those things really kind of came out in different areas of my life. And so very involved in my youth group. I used to go to a summer camp growing up, when I was in more so middle school. And then, went to, was in high school. I was on the swim team, like we had so much fun on the swim team, right? Like the community element of being on the swim team together and our spaghetti dinners and hanging out all day at a swim meet to only swim 2 events, right? And you sit there in your little swim parkas and chat and eat snacks and do little gifts from your little secret sister. Or softball team. Softball was my favorite sport growing up. I played on like club teams and everything. And so we had pretty long seasons, pretty much like winter into the summer. And then you were at tournaments and you would travel and you were on these teams with these girls. And then like you would go out after games and, you would do your hair fun and you would come up with these, little chants at the games, pitcher, you're a belly itcher, all those, all those things. And I just loved it. I just loved being part of a team. Right. And then in college was so fun because you kind of, come up with your little college crowd and all the things. You have different things going on and you're in different clubs and groups and dynamics, But I actually spent 2 summers working at a summer camp in the Yosemite area. And I was a boat driver. I taught kids how to wakeboard and water ski for 2 summers, and drove a boat, pretty much all day during the camp sessions. And just being with the camp staff, I loved that, and you'd put on shows and then you would go do things. Like one summer we all went to like Santa Cruz, on the however many hours we had off, maybe 36 hours off or 24 hours off or something like that. If you've ever worked at a summer camp, you know that you just have like crazy, you have like very limited time off and you like really maximize that time. I don't even know how I survived. I'm so wimpy now, like needing more rest, or like we went and we climbed Half Dome. And so like literally our shift ended and we hiked all night up Half Dome. Right. And so like, just loved those dynamics, loved the fun element. Right. And then when I got into young adult life, I worked at a ski resort for two seasons, or a season and a half. I had a knee injury in my second season. And, just you're with a group of people, common mission, right? You want to ski, you want to work, you want to have fun, right? And then after that, kind of becoming more of a young adult, I moved back up to the ski town areas. I moved up to Breckenridge, Colorado. And that's actually where I met my husband, but we met at like in a church young adults group. And the young adults group was so fun up there. It was amazing, right? It was like, imagine you bring all these young adults, men, women, they're up in the mountains because they love, to ski and they love to bike and they love to camp and like just the outdoor adventure. And you bring them together with a common denominator of church and Jesus, right? Like, and it is so special. So many marriages came out of this season, you guys, like so many marriages. It's so cool. And we're still, good friends with many of our friends from those days. And it was a very special season, but we had sort of another community thing, right? And then we met, right? And then, guys, where it got really interesting was early years of marriage, right? Like we moved, we were here, we were there, getting involved in new churches, all the things. And then community was there, but it wasn't exactly the same depth, right? That we had like in different seasons of life. And so I think specifically, actually right when we had our first baby, that was when community really felt like it kind of fell off for me, right? Like you hear about, this village, like you're going to have, you're going to be moms and do all these mom things together and all the things. But the reality is life changes, things get busy, people's lives are moving in lots of different directions, and community just isn't the same necessarily, right? And this is why church community is obviously very important. But I also think that we go through stages of strong community and stages of maybe more wilderness. And so right after having my first baby, I just remember feeling like I'm kind of feeling isolated. I work from home. Or I was a photographer during that season, and, I didn't have any coworkers, right? Like, I'm a small business owner and I don't have like an office that I go to every day. Like, I run my business from my home, basically. I have a baby. We were the first ones in our church community to have children. So that was like, no one really understood what we were going through. And then people like, you don't get invited as much, out to things because you have a baby and you're like, you just can't do this stuff that you used to be able to do anymore for a season. And it was a season where I just remember like just feeling more alone, right? And so at that point, guys, I basically started to build community in my local photography community and met a best friend through that process. And we kind of ran a local community for, 5 years roughly. But it came out of a desire to create like community, right? And anyways, what we built was so fun, but it was after like not having community, right? And then when I came into the online world, you guys, that was a really weird shift, because it was like, not only was I stepping away from having a good community. They were not a Christian community in the photography industry, and so I definitely missed out on that. But I walked away from sort of having a great community, COVID times, pure isolation, right, into just craziness, right? Craziness. And I had built other community elements in my photography business, through things that I had been doing. I was a wedding photographer mainly. And then I was a high school senior photographer. That was sort of the second specialization that I had. And I would actually bring the girls together, maybe like 8 to 10 times a year for shoots and events and all of that, and created a really fun program for my seniors in high school. And that really was something that pushed ahead people wanting to sign with me in the marketing element because they wanted to be part of a group, right? But anyways, when I came online, it was kind of like no community, right? Complete isolation and community. And so when I went into building my programs, and they really started to click when I really doubled down on community, right? Which that's sort of where my first photography programs were born online, and then the Selah Collective, and then moving into now we have the Sanctuary offer, guys. And so community is a driver for me, always has been. And I really think it just comes from a place of belonging. And I think that people want a place to belong in the different seasons that they are in, right? And so I think what I'm just tapping into by telling you this story is that like I built elements of this in my local business, right? And it was great for marketing, right? I had clients sign with me. They saw that their friend was working with me. They wanted to go do fun photo shoots with their friends, being little high school girls, right? Bam, right? Like that was my marketing, right? They wanted to be a part of something bigger, the bigger mission, right? And then going online, like this became the binder, because how many Christian women are trying to build businesses, but they're alone, right? They're alone. Building a business is isolating as is. Building an online business is extra isolating because you're behind a computer all the time. You're not in your community talking to people all the time, right? And you're just literally not out there as much, and your friendships and your relationships are more like virtual, and sometimes you feel like you can only go so far in that way, right? But it was tapping into, once again, like a need for people and a desire for people to belong. And I just think that we all want to belong, right? And so, I mean, what's more attractive to you? Hey, come buy this online course, or hey, come buy this online course, like with a community that's going to actually help you implement it and support you and be there for you, right? Like, I mean, like we want to belong to something, and we also want the support of a group, And so I think what I'm really going at in this season, post-COVID, everyone's kind of just back in, the day-to-day of like, well, how are we going to build in this next era? We're getting tired of online things to some extent. How are you going to build a sense of community and a sense of belonging into your programs, which will not only help your marketing, it will help your client retention. It will help build, that following and that brand for honestly like generations, right? Like people who follow you in one season will likely follow you in another season, right? It makes me think about like Donald Miller, for example. I remember when he wrote the book Blue Like Jazz, and maybe I read that, I don't know, was it like 2008 or something like that, right? And then today he has like the whole Story brand, right? So here we are 25 some years later, and I guarantee you that there's a lot of people like me who are aware of who he was and what he did and followed him kind of throughout the years because of where he started with Blue Like Jazz, because that was very like popular in the Christian scene in those days, right? And so, but it's when you build a personal brand, right? Throughout the years, people are going to follow that, right? Like if they're connecting obviously with who you are and what you do. But community does the same thing, right? Like it's truly, truly like a binder. It's a binder for marketing. It's a binder for belonging inside of a program. It kind of gives people a home, you know, to where they're supposed to be. And so my challenge to you, just kind of after thinking about this, is like, where could you build community inside of your business? Which a lot of it is facilitation, by the way, you guys. Building community is facilitation, being intentional about building relationships, you know, which I think we're not very intentional sometimes, you know. But I want you to think about like, where could I add in a sense of community into my business, or how could I like shift this into my programs, into my ministries, because it creates a bigger buy-in for that person, because you're on a shared mission. You have a shared assignment, right? And how could you do that in a way where obviously you could run your online business, your ministry, your programs, your offers, whatever it is, like how could you do that in a way that would enhance the value of what you have built, right? Also going back, guys, when I went all in on a group coaching model for the most part, and this was 2020 more so, that was when my online business really blew up. That was the marketing key, guys. And so if you're trying to do something, it's not working out, you're not seeing success, like that might be something to try. Obviously you want to have a heart for that and like a heart for groups and a heart for community. I think I have just realized that like I am such a gatherer, and I don't even, you know, it's so funny because I really do just like bringing people together, and I'm skilled in that. And you look at my story and you're like, okay, it makes sense, right? As I was explaining, summer camp, youth group, you know, all the things, right? And think about like where your strengths could help you do that. But there are a lot of women that are looking for a home, that are looking for belonging, that are looking for a place, you know, and how can you do that within relationship with people? How can you enhance your offers and make community stronger and give them more of a reason to stay with you, right? Or like fully even just like invest in what they're doing with you. Okay, ladies, go ahead and download the 0 to 100K guide. This is the Holy Spirit Led Coach's 40 plus page guide to hitting 100K in the next 12 months. It's my story, and it's the tactical things that I did. You'll look at sort of where my income was, you know, how I broke down that first 6 figures, you know, what it kind of took, events and whatnot, and the risks that I took, and the safe things that I did, and the fear that I felt, and all the things. So go download it. It is really, really good. Okay, ladies. Hey girl, hey! If you were loving this episode, please leave a 5-star rating and a written review on our show. If you happen to screenshot it and email it to us at team@wildandradiant.com, we're going to thank you, celebrate you, and we just want to make sure you're part of this Set Apart movement. Plus, ladies, other ladies will get to see this show. They will get to see the episodes, they will get to listen to all the goodies in here, and when you leave a review, you help us pop up easier for that show. So 1, we would love it if you would do that. 2, please share this episode with your business besties, the ones who are done with hustle culture, tired of watered down marketing, and ready to build Holy Spirit-led online businesses with fire, strategy, and biblical truth. I know you have one out there that you're thinking of right now, right? Share it, hit share, hit send. Okay. And ladies, if you're looking to launch your online business and grow to that first 100K, I want you inside of the Salem Collective. It's my signature group coaching space for Christian women who are ready ready to activate their calling and build with biblical clarity and proven strategy. If you've already hit 6 figures or well on your way, and you're ready to scale in a place of overflow and rest so you can get to your first 500K to 1 million, then you need to apply for Eden, the Mastermind, where kingdom leaders rise, multiply, and take spiritual and digital ground together. Lastly, ladies, head to ashleyjunco.com to learn more. I'm praying bold prayers over your business. Let's radically go do the thing. I'll see you in the next episode.